Picture this: a crowded train in Tokyo. A toddler begins to melt down, and the mother does nothing. No yelling, no bribing with snacks, no desperate whispers of "stop it right now." She simply waits, calmly, as if she knows something others don't. And in many ways, she does. Japanese children are often ranked among the most well-behaved and self-disciplined in the world, not because they are forced into obedience, but because of a parenting philosophy so simple and powerful that once you understand it, you may never view children's behavior the same way again. By the end, you'll see 3 tools Japanese parents have used for generations, tools you can begin applying immediately. You may think Japanese culture is too different for this to apply elsewhere, but what's fascinating is that the core principles are not cultural mysteries. They align with decades of developmental psychology. Researchers from major institutions have studied why Japanese children regulate emotions so effectively, and the answer is not harsh discipline, fear, or rigid control. It begins with one word: shitsuki. In Japanese, the word carries the idea of attaching beauty to the body, not punishment, not domination, beauty. Shitsuke is the art of raising a child who wants to behave well, not because they fear consequences, but because good behavior has become part of their identity. Think about how different that is from common Western patterns. Often, bad behavior happens first, then adults react, raising voices, removing privileges, sending children away. It may work briefly, but the cycle often repeats because the reaction targets the symptom, not the cause. Japanese parenting often takes the opposite approach: prevent the fire instead of repeatedly extinguishing it. And that begins with a powerful question: what skill is my child missing right now? Not, how do I stop this behavior? But, what does my child not yet know how to do? Because children often misbehave not out of defiance, but because they lack a skill. Emotional regulation, patience, communication, these are learned capacities. The moment a parent shifts from punishing unwanted behavior to teaching missing skills, everything can begin to change. Now return to that mother on the train. Why didn't she rush to stop the tantrum? Because she was practicing mimamoru, which means watching over while protecting. It reflects the belief that children grow stronger when adults resist intervening at every sign of difficulty. In many places, adults are conditioned to fix things immediately. Child struggles, we step in. Child cries, we solve it. Child fails, we rescue. Often this comes from love, but it can carry an unintended message. You can't handle this yourself. Japanese parents often take a different route. They step back, observe, and trust the child's ability to work through discomfort. They allow the child to sit with frustration long enough to attempt something independently. And when the child manages, even imperfectly, that moment becomes real confidence. Not the kind built through constant praise, but the kind formed through doing hard things. Developmental psychology calls this productive struggle, and it is strongly linked to emotional resilience. So next time a child is upset or frustrated, before stepping in immediately, wait, observe. Give them a few extra seconds. You may discover more capability than you expected. This is where many assumptions about Japanese parenting fall apart. Some assume disciplined children must come from strict, cold, rigid homes. In reality, the opposite is often true. Japanese parenting is deeply rooted in amai, the feeling of depending securely on another person's love. In early childhood, Japanese mothers are often extraordinarily close to their children. Co-sleeping can be common. Physical closeness is frequent. The child is not made to feel alone. This is not overindulgence. It is foundation. Neuroscience helps explain why. A child who feels deeply secure with a caregiver develops a nervous system better able to self-regulate. When love feels unconditional, children often don't need to act out for attention or constantly test boundaries for reassurance. Emotional closeness in early life becomes the soil from which self-discipline can naturally grow. Then, as development unfolds, independence is encouraged gradually. Responsibility is added little by little. not because the parent withdraws, but because the child is ready. Warmth first, structure second. That balance matters. Now consider something remarkable. Japanese children often clean their own classrooms every day. No janitors doing it for them, no constant adult commands. They simply do it. And this is not mainly about cleanliness. It reflects a deeper principle. Behavior becomes character through repetition. In Japan, even young children may be given small daily responsibilities: setting the table, packing a school bag, cleaning up after meals. Not because parents need assistance, but because repeated rituals shape identity. A child begins to see themselves as capable, responsible, and contributing. And identity drives behavior far more powerfully than rules alone. This is where many parenting systems struggle. Rules are set, consequences are enforced, rewards are offered, but identity is often overlooked. Japanese parents may communicate, not merely through commands, but through daily ritual and modeling. This is who we are, and children often rise to meet that identity. So here's a practical takeaway. Choose one small daily ritual this week. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Perhaps your child sets the table before dinner, packs their own bag before school, or says thank you before meals. Practice it daily, without pressure, without rewards, simply through repetition, expectation, and trust. Give it a few weeks and observe who your child begins becoming. Japanese parents are not calmer by accident. They tend to build systems, one ritual, one moment, one small act of trust at a time. Shitsuke, Mimamoru, Amai, prevention, trust, connection. These are not merely Japanese ideas. They reflect human truths available to any parent, anywhere, beginning today. If this gave you something to think about, share it with another parent who may benefit. And if you want to explore more child psychology and how different cultures raise emotionally intelligent children, there is always more to learn.